The Regulators and Policymakers Retreat is a 4-day residential retreat. It is the flagship event of Independent Power Producers Association of India. IPPAI provides a unique platform for all the stakeholders in the power sector to discuss and debate on issues critical to the development of the sector.
You can't have yesterday's narrative today. It's a fast-changing world. Lots of things are happening, and the narrative itself is changing, and the event here has to keep pace with that narrative to become and remain relevant. And this year's theme is, can India afford an unequal society? And to look at the concept of unequal society, my job as the introducer is to provoke thought, provoke your minds, and perhaps to some extent create an environment where new ideas can come out. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a pretty busy agenda. So let me not take more time and to invite our panel speakers up. And I'm going to hand over the moderation to Surbi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can I start with you, sir? Why don't you give us the policymakers' perspective on this?
It's definitely one of the most important topic, perhaps of this century. In India, there are two classes of people. One, which sweats to reduce the stomach. And the other class sweats to fill the stomach. That in the last 15 years, the gap has not been so much as it is now. So on one side we have bullock carts, and the other side we have bullet train dreams of. So this certainly cannot really go parallel.
Look, I want to cut out the hypocrisy. I don't want an equal society. We are always going to be an unequal society. All societies are unequal. By any measurement. Cerebrally they are unequal. By wealth they are unequal. By social status they are unequal. The issues are far deeper, and I would request the panel to address them. The issues are, does the common man have basic rights? Be a commoner in India and try and file an FIR. We play havoc with food subsidies. The day we start thinking about our country before ourselves, we will have moved the needle. Is that possible? I really don't know. I have great hope in the youth of today. And it's not a cliche. They are more engaged with the idea of India. They are more engaged with Indianness. And most importantly, they are most upset about injustice. If we can allow them to be unfettered, we will be a changed India.
Well, this is a composite society. We are all stakeholders. The politicians are also a reflection of the society. When you say that there are corrupt elements in every sphere, you are talking about corruption in judiciary, you are talking about corruption in police or bureaucrats, politicians or industrialists. Actually, this is the reflection of our society.
We have got to create wealth. If we do not create wealth, and we have got to clean up the system. And who can clean up the system? You can talk about, if you say that all the politicians are bad, all the bureaucrats are bad, all the police is bad, that's not true. There are many, many politicians, I can tell you, who may not have money even to buy a small little flat. There are quite a few. But the focus is only on the bad ones, not at all on the good ones.
Some very important words here. He actually said creating wealth. I caught on to that. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience caught on to that. He said creating wealth. Very quickly, Mr. Bodlai, your thoughts on this? This whole concept of dole out slash subsidy versus enabling someone to improve his or her lot.
This divide urban-rural divide, that poor-rich divide. It is very frightening. You may shrug it off, but I'm telling you, this is the reality in today's life. So that is why it's very important that we have to somehow bridge this gap. We have to take measures. I am not saying that you bridge this gap only by doling out subsidies and trying to take, but you have to generate income at the grassroots level. You have to involve people at the grassroots level in the production activities, or somehow you have to involve these people in the economic activities. This is very important, and this is what the challenge is in front of us.
So long as you figure so low in the Human Development Index, we should just shut up and work.
Societies are not built only by talking about the ineffectiveness of certain people getting rich. They have to be built by enabling everyone to get rich.
All these years, the norm in our country, whether we like to agree or disagree publicly or otherwise, has been if you have power, you move forward. If you don't, find your own ways. Is that going to change? That's a wider debate, but Mr. Dal, you've been listening to all kinds of views.
I'm extremely optimistic. And the reason why I'm optimistic is I'm optimistic about industry, and I'm optimistic about India for a very simple reason. You don't really have a choice. You have to create wealth. You have to create employment. It will happen. Whether you like it or not. You may not like the way it may happen. You may not like the speed at which it happens, but it is going to happen.
The national slogan is Satyameva Jayate. Let truth prevail. The fact of the matter is, in our country, whatever prevails is the truth.
All right, on that note, we need to really draw this session to a close, and to Suhail's point that this will all end in a round of scotch and some good food. I can only say that if after those rounds of scotch and good food, at the end of this year, if this sector goes out with a couple of megawatts or gigawatts added, a couple of tariff issues resolved, some more states with 24/7 power, if a year down the line those are the achievements thanks to the scotch and the good food, so be it.
Separation of wires and service. The idea is that to bring in competition, because you can't have a parallel network. Now the state companies, they have old power purchase agreements. Rate at which they buy electricity is very low. So they would not like to give those PPAs. So that being the case, when a newcomer comes and he has to provide service, he will have to contract new PPAs, power purchase agreement, where the cost will be much higher. So that does not make it a level playing field.
Recent CERC verdict on Tata, Adani case, the Vodafone tax case, or the toll bridge bailout, all this is leading to a huge amount of uncertainty and instability.
The issue of sanctity of contract is not a legal problem, but a moral problem. It is the nature of capital that the higher the risk, it will seek an enhanced return.
There's a slight difference between the interpretation of a contract and sanctity of a contract. You can interpret the contract in a particular way, go to the judiciary and say, well, I want it to be interpreted, and the judiciary pronounces it this thing. Now what has happened is fundamentally, the very basis of the contract is now sought to be challenged. My first question is, can the judiciary or the person who is sitting in arbitration as the regulator, can he rewrite the contract?
The answer to that is not so difficult, because the answer has been given time and again and repeatedly, that no court of law and no regulator can rewrite a contract.
The issue started from the government policy of procuring the power on the competitive bidding. It was conceived that the bidders would take all the risks onto themselves. Is it possible for someone to conceive that during the course of 25 years, what would be the fuel price? Only thing, the variable price, as and when, if the coal prices come down, the compensatory tariff would also go away. And if it increases, he gets the compensatory, which is only kind of a temporary phenomena which was given to them. None of the conditions of the contract was to be violated or to be opened. So it is not rewriting the contract.
Government comes out with a bid. It's an open, transparent, 500-page bid. Anybody knowing simple legal language can read and understand. Big business houses, backed by big lawyers, read that agreement and bid. They're quoting facts. I'm not quoting any interpretations in this. These are facts. They bid. We will give you power for 25 years at this rate. That bid is put in. Suddenly, after the bid is opened, things start. We say that the document ipso facto was wrong. Now again, statement of fact, the government has realized that the document was wrong. We need to correct. The document is now being corrected.
I want to thank this panel, and I want to thank the eminent panelists here for giving a very engaging, short, sweet, powerful, thought-provoking talk. A round of applause to this panel. Thank you so much.
The winner for the best performance.
Stay tuned for the IPP AI Power Awards 2014. Insufficient transmission capacity bottles up and strands power, leading to blackouts on one end and stranded capacity on the other. Perhaps it is time to open up and facilitate private sector investment in transmission.
Transmission is a capital intensive infrastructure. Once the towers have been put in the ground, you can't shift it. Huge transmission capacity from Chhattisgarh is being created. Champa Kurukshetra 6000 megawatt HVDC is in the offing. There are good 765 kV transmission lines in the offing. What has happened is, yes, there has been a mismatch between what transmission system can come and when the generation did came. That mismatch was unfortunate. That is there is no doubt in that.
Dilip, now we are talking about an ultra mega solar project in Rajasthan.
Yes.
2,500 megawatt, 4,000
yes.
megawatt.
Yes.
So that project will be useful only for 7 to 8 hours a day.
Right.
So, but you have to build up a transmission network to cater 24 hours.
What to do? Yes. If I don't build and when the sun is there, the power can't go.
So it means the cost of transmission will be 3 times than the normal cost.
It will be more if we want to, if you see, we wanted to have a concept of load to load. That means Mumbai is giving power to Delhi and Delhi giving power to Mumbai. It doesn't happen. Actually, power from where Mumbai was getting power, Mumbai from where it was getting power, will now give power to Delhi. It can't happen that the power will first go to Mumbai and then travels to Delhi.
Today, the installed capacity in this country is around 250,000 megawatt. It's a recorded data that the peak demand which was met was 135,000 megawatt, which means there was 115,000 megawatt capacity available in this country, which due to one reason or the other could not be brought to the customer. 95,000 megawatt is the capacity of the diesel generation in this country. Now, look at these numbers in a holistic manner. On one hand, we are saying that consumer requires power, like what we are saying, consumer wants plug and play, but we are not able to meet the demand. On another hand, if suppose we are not meeting the demand, the law of economics says that in the exchanges, the power rate should have gone up, but that rate is not going up. On the other hand, we have invested hundreds of thousands of crores in DG sets for which we are importing fuel and then burning it. If you look at the transmission sector growth data in last few years, the highest growth has been in 765 kV segment. If I am not wrong, Rojikar will correct me, upwards of 40%. Okay, low base effect, but is still highest. Today you talk to several state electricity boards, I am telling you a large number of them say, we don't need power. Like today's morning somebody mentioned in Haryana that they have 12,500 megawatt contracted power while their peak demand doesn't cross 8,000 megawatt. So why is this happening? Because we have not kept pace in bringing consumers on board, giving them quality supply,
making sure that they get power 24/7, they have some assurance about that, so that they then in turn go and make investments, whether it is home appliances, whether it is a small industry, or whether any other thing which consumes power, which runs on reliable power. The topic of this agenda is whether transmission is a key market enabler. I have no doubt in my mind, certainly it's an enabler, but sub-transmission is even a bigger enabler.
Short-term market report by CERC for 2012 and 13, I saw that in 2012 and 13, about 16 billion units of power couldn't be sold because of transmission constraint. That the price of power is about 4 rupees. And today, if you look at the point of connection transmission charge, it is about 14 paisa average. So for this 600 odd crores of power which could have been transacted, the transmission cost would work out to about 25 to 30 crores. So I don't know why the generators are not ready to pay for the transmission.
It's not just the generator who's the player, even the distribution companies become a player.
Yeah.
So he may also want to sell his surplus power or buy surplus power. Right. So I think the regulators should keep this in mind, that even the distribution company is become a player in the market which was traditionally only done by generators.
When we are saying market enabler, we are primarily saying that the cheapest power should be able to find the best customer. Which means the customer who is capable of paying, he must have access to the cheapest power and nowadays the best power in terms of environmental safety also.
I think we should stop asking who is the target beneficiaries. It is for us to analyze. CTU should be strengthened, made a proper body with lot of manpower, with foresight, so that, seeing that demand patterns and shifting demand patterns and demand growth and all those things, to see that which are the regions towards which we have to send the power. People will now buy power according to law of economics. They will stop their own generation and buy cheaper power from that range.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for a very lively session. Thank you very much. With due respects, thank you so much to this lovely panel. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
11 years after the passing of the Electricity Act, the consumers still have no real choice. Therefore, a strong need for amendments in the Electricity Act 2003 were discussed at length at the 15th Regulators and Policymakers retreat in Goa.
We are the 5th largest coal reserve in the world. This is the biggest advantage. We are still not able to identify the gas reserves, we are still not able to identify the crude reserves, and we are not in a position to make too much of capital investment in this particular sector. But coal, we have open cast coal available in the country. We can certainly harness this resource to make the country energy sufficient.
Opportunities in the transnational trade of electricity between the SAARC nations were also discussed.
I think some of the recommendations, deliberations that are done over here will lead to a greater debate which will help the nation in address these critical requirements.
IPPAI presents Power Awards to the outstanding performers in the power sector.
First award, ladies and gentlemen, of the evening goes to Welspun Energy Private Limited. May we call upon Mr. Deepak Khare, General Manager of Welspun Energy, and this award is the recognition for retrofitting of reflector in solar PV panels. A big round of applause. The next award, and this one is going to A to Z Infrastructure for conversion of municipal solid waste to energy. Third winner in the innovation category, BSCS Rajdhani Power. Recognition for modular integrated distribution automation systems. So congratulations to the winners. This one is going to CESC Limited, Southern Generating Station. The recognition is for energy conservation in 3 into 15 kilowatt micro hydel. I have here Mr. Anupam Datta. Congratulations, sir, Vice President Tech, and Mr. Suprakash Ghosh of CESC receiving the award. This one is going to Reliance Infrastructure. May I call upon stage Mr. Raghavendra Mehta, CEO of Reliance Infrastructure, to please receive the award. The recognition is for feeder pillar box design for theft control. Congratulations to Reliance Infra. The next award goes to JSW Energy. May I call upon stage Mr. Satish Jindal, CEO of JSW Power Trading, to please come up and receive the award. Recognition for utilization of surplus blast furnace gas. I request Mr. Khurshid to give away the next award. It's going to the West Bengal State Electricity Distribution Company. May we have on stage Mr. Tarun Mitra, I think he's here, Additional Chief Engineer, and Mr. Preetam Banerjee. And the recognition is for innovative use of energy in the Purulia Pump Storage Project. The winner for the Best Distribution Company goes to Paschim Gujarat Vaj Company Limited. May I invite on stage Mr. Sandeep Kumar, Managing Director, and Mr. K.M. Bhuva of the company to please receive the honour. The winner for the most progressive state in the power sector, and the award goes to, ladies and gentlemen, Gujarat. May we call upon stage Srimati Shamina Hussain, Director of GUVNL. Second runner-up, most progressive state in the power sector, goes to West Bengal. May I call upon the stage Mr. Sushant Kumar Das, Managing Director of the West Bengal State Electricity Transmission Company, to please come up and receive the award. Now we move to the first runner-up of this category, most progressive state when it comes to power. May I call upon Mr. Srivastava. Congratulations.